So that way I don't have to worry about hitting the record button. Check, mic, check, mic, check.
1 2 1 2
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8
Is
9 to the 10.
yeah, all right, man. I'm just checking, making sure all levels are clear and precise.
Right.
We are ready. What's
Yeah.
up, Gran Turismo fans? I am CowboysStig, and this is the first ever race week and review brought to you by Sector 7, the secret sector in racing. Also brought to you by Fan for Life. What is your passion? And Sector 7 race series, where you're going to find the simulation in racing. I am your host today, but I bring along with me good friend and teammate Finesse. What's up, man?
What's good, Stig, man? What's good, man? Enjoying my time right here.
It's the first ever race week in review, and we're talking about just everything racing in the past week for Sector 7 and for some of our fans of Sector 7. We're getting into everybody, but we're going to break down and get technical and kind of bring everybody into this, right? So get everybody involved. Tell us a little bit about what we got going on in Sector 7. We got a lot of races happening.
Yeah, so we just finished up our Group 3 and Group 4 races last month. So currently we're holding two racing series right now. The first one being the 500 horsepower challenge. So that'll give everybody a chance to break away from the race cars and go to some of these production cars that we don't normally get a chance to drive because everybody's trying to compete in the FIAs and whatnot, which we'll get into later.
So these
But
are really just these are races that we've come up with. How did we get to these type of races?
yeah, so, we did come up with some of these races. There was S7 Rip has come up with a few of the series that we were in, and they're just production cars, regular cars, and the only restriction really is the 500 horsepower. There was a weight restriction, I believe it was 2,750 pounds. But as we go along, that variable will change because of BOP settings and whatnot. So, like I said, with this 500 horsepower challenge, we're gonna be using race tires. So it's small, medium, or hard. Doesn't matter which one you use. Doesn't matter how often you pit. You can pit whenever you want to pit. I mean, it's kind of open, so it's a little looser than what we normally do. And with that, you can also do as much tuning as you want on the vehicles. So there's no limit to any. Nothing is restricted. So you can to go tune into your to your content with what you're driving.
Yeah, make yourself
The
competitive, right? This is like you said. This is we're getting away from the norm of what's in Gran Turismo. So being able to set up your car is a lot different than what we are used to, right?
Yeah, for sure. Especially since you have some people that are experienced with tuning. You also have some people that are a little bit inexperienced with tuning. However, this experience gets you familiar with tuning. So, during all the practice sessions or practice lobbies that we have going on, you can kind of mess around with the settings and kind of understand what each of the settings does to the vehicle.
All right, all right. Tell us about some other races we got going on.
So the other race we have is the BMW One Make Challenge. We're using the 1989 M3 Sport. It's 260 horsepower. For this particular series, that variable will not change. The car will always have 260 horsepower. It's been limited to that. um, However, one thing that does change will be the weight. Depending on how you place in the race, the points and whatnot. will determine either if you're nerfed or if you get a bump in power, or excuse me, bump in weight.
So we've got a lot of we
Also,
got that balance. Not only are we dealing with the balance of power, but we're adjusting that week to week or race to race to keep everybody close.
right, right. So the point of it is to make the people that are maybe less competitive to be competitive when it comes to the top drivers. So you're trying to get that balance between, what at what weight and are you able to, keep your car on the track or negotiate a track that will make you competitive. And hopefully what it will do is add a bit more competition or a degree of difficulty for the faster drivers, making them better, and also for the not as fast drivers to get up to compete to eventually make them better as well.
And is that the only two races we got on, or do we have another one going? I know we got the you said
We have one more, which is the Red Bull Challenge, and that I don't have the information for at the moment. However, that's going to be the Red Bull Junior cars, and they are limited to sports tires, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know. I don't know if they're doing the balance of power on those or not.
I think they've got it maximum or at the lowest. Everybody's running on torque or something like that, but they do have a race coming up this tonight, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe there is a race tonight, which we will be calling. And those, and so you don't really see. I mean, well, I guess if you look at the FIAs, they kind of routinely use them, but other than that, you really don't get to see the Red Bull Juniors out on the track too much. And at the beginning of that series, it was a little rough. However,
It's
the
been
drivers have
exciting.
now, yeah. But now the drivers have gotten to how the car reacts to input. So um, it's been some pretty interesting races. Been some pretty exciting finishes as well.
And we were both invited to that series, and I don't know why you declined, sir, but I was just straight up. It is hard.
Yeah, yeah. And so it reminds me of a commercial that I saw like a little bit ago. That stay in your lane. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
do
don't tend
too
to
much
weave.
anything with
Yeah,
those cars. Yeah, that's
I
not
don't
me.
tend to weave out of it. And I love racing the fast cars in Gran Turismo. I do.
Yeah.
But it is sometimes we, especially in this particular series, when you think about all of the horsepower, the torque that particular car has, and then you're going to do it on standard tires.
Yeah, well, okay. It's
Woo!
the horsepower and torque in relation to the weight. I think that's
Yeah,
what it is, right?
yeah, that's the way
Because
they've got it set
it's
up.
I think it's like 200 and something horsepower, which
Yeah,
you wouldn't think is a lot, but when you're rolling around on a freaking paper mache car frame, I mean, it's going to make a big difference. So yeah, for that, I was out.
and let's tell everybody again, this is the first ever race week in review. Sector 7, we're putting this together to kind of give everybody an idea of what we got going on at Sector 7. We are very proud of our race team. We're going to, at some point introduce you to everybody on the team, but we want to take this opportunity again just to remind everybody that you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Discord. Our individual drivers, such as my good friend Finesse here, where can they find you?
What? Yeah, you can catch me in the lobby. I'm usually running around in the lobby somewhere, doing FIA or doing daily races, or just popping into a random online lobby. And it's a I enjoy the game. It's a lot of fun. Um, and I think this was of all the racing games I've ever played, and I played quite a bit. It's this one and one other title that really kind of set themselves apart, and this as I think this is probably as close as you can get without making it specifically for one person.
Right, right.
if
Well,
that
now,
makes sense.
And you mentioned one other game. What is that other game? Don't keep it a secret now. Everybody wants to know.
Yeah, between this and Forza now. But see, so when you get these PlayStation folks and you start talking
Ooh,
about
you start talking. Yeah,
Xbox,
exactly.
yeah, that's why I just said this other racing
What
game.
is the beef? What is the beef between PlayStation and Xbox? I you know
Man,
I, you know,
it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. You
it's
know
the
what I mean?
Hatfields and
They do the same
look.
thing, man. I just don't understand it.
I'm gonna tell you what I just tell everybody. I want to race. I don't care what
That's it.
platform it's on. It does not matter to me if it's PlayStation, Xbox, Android, PC. It doesn't matter. If you love racing, if you want
Yeah,
to race, where do you go to get it?
that's it.
And why limit yourself to those choices? Like yourself, I've been playing Gran Turismo since, gosh, PlayStation 1.
Right. Since Gran Turismo 1, the
You
very
know what I'm
first.
saying? And
You know,
here's the
there's
thing.
a I gotta yeah.
No, go ahead. No, let me say this. Because back in the
Oh,
day, with the
right.
PlayStation 2, there was a controller that came out. It was a very rare controller, but it was a handheld controller that had a wheel on it. The
Huh.
throttle was on the bottom, and you can find it right now if you go out on eBay and look for a
Yeah.
handheld wheel controller. It was perfect back in the day for driving Gran Turismo.
Huh. I've never
Now
heard of
it,
that.
it was it wasn't a digital, it was all analog, so you didn't have the precision, but it was better than trying to use your joystick. When I tell people about that, they go, what? Then they go looking for it and go, oh my God. Yes,
Yeah.
it did exist. It
Interesting.
did
So
exist.
I've also got a kind of a weird story, right? So when I was this was back in what 96, I think. I'm prior military. So I was stationed in Korea and this game had just come out. So I went and got the game, but the version that I had was all in Japanese, so I had no idea what was going on, right?
Hmm.
Trying to get the license.
Yeah, yeah.
And the very first challenge is you drive and you get to the checkerboard area and then you stop, right?
Yes.
But I couldn't figure that. I didn't understand that, right? Because I couldn't read it because it was all in Japanese. So I just zoomed past the checkerboard and I'm like, okay, well, it keeps failing. Like, what am I not doing right? So I go back to the place and I bought it because they had one on display because, it was like real popular back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was asking the guy, like, how do you do this? So without saying a word, not one word, he's looking at me holding a controller with one hand, right? He takes off in the car and he stops in the checkerboard. This dude never looked at the screen. He never looked. He's looking at me like I'm a complete idiot, and I was like, "Well, okay,
What the heck
thanks.
was
I
wrong with
can't
you,
read
bro?
it though, so
Yeah.
you're right, right. But I can't read it, so I don't know what's going on." But yeah, that was my first introduction to Gran Turismo, and I've been a part of the game. Well, I've been playing the game ever since.
And for ironically, the fact that we've been around the game so long, it's become iconic, I guess. Well, it's beyond iconic. If you're like myself, played any other games that have had a large following, you know what it's like to have the changes that were made, see the progression of the game go from one end to another. Uh, you were just talking about your experiences. What about now? What's your experience in Gran Turismo now? What's something that you've noticed is the biggest change between when you first played Gran Turismo?
All right, so besides the elephant in the room, which is the graphics, I mean, I think that's something that's uh, easily
Absolutely
seen
more
throughout the
immersed,
years.
I feel like now.
Right. So I think one of the biggest changes to the game is the FIA series itself.
Yeah,
Because without the series, you wouldn't have the penalty system,
yeah.
and you wouldn't have the feel that the game is trying to go for. I mean,
Right,
obviously,
right.
there's still a few things I think that they have to work out, but I think the onset of the series itself has created, more followers, more serious followers than just a casual. I mean, even so much so that Forza now had started a championship for their game.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to be a real simulator or taken seriously as a simulator, I think that piece, bringing in a championship, having something tangible to the masses. And not to mention Lewis Hamilton, right? Because that's how he got
No,
his start
exactly.
from a
Exactly.
PlayStation Challenge,
When you
right?
pasted his name and his likeness on this game, I think you took it even to another level. And you mentioned because I race iRacing. And the reason why I went to iRacing was because at some level in Gran Turismo, until they got the FIAs, until they got the online play sport, there wasn't that competition, unless you were, directly connecting or get jumping into some private group or something like that. You
Yeah.
couldn't play against other people the way you can now.
Right. So yeah, in my opinion, I think the FIA is definitely the biggest change, the best change that the Gran Turismo series has implemented.
And that leads us into another set part of what we're going to do with the race week review is we're going to go in and we're going to take a look at the daily races, the National Cup, and the Manufacturers Race, and we're going to break those down and talk about that. Give everybody kind of a heads up. We'll be talking about what's going to happen, next week as well, but we'll focus on what everybody's going to be doing this week uh, um, primarily. And we've got 3 races in the dailies right now in Gran Turismo. What do you think about the 3 current options we have for race A, B, and C? I thought it was interesting. I every week I always got my fingers crossed that they'll do something different. That they won't follow the norms. They won't follow the trends. And
Yeah.
I saw something this week. My favorite being race B. I
Huh.
have already won on this track. I come in third. I got a sixth place, a 13th. Um, I got a pole, which I got knocked out of, by the way.
Right.
Uh, but nonetheless, eh, that's my favorite out of the 3. How about you?
Yeah, so my favorite out of the three, oddly enough, is the Group 4 race at Suzuka.
Yeah,
It's 9 laps. There's tire wear, so I think that the reason that I like this race is because you don't necessarily. I mean, you have to contest with the go-to cars, so to
yeah,
speak, right? Because
exactly.
everybody knows what cars outperform other cars in different
Yeah,
situations, which makes it kind of interesting, but it's kind of frustrating at the same time. So the front wheel drive cars, they're going to get tire wear just like the rest of us, but it's more, it's more difficult for them once those tires, because those tires do everything. They turn, they drive, they brake, so and I've actually placed on the podium for that race as well. And Suzuka's probably not my most favorite track, but to get away from all the little front wheel drive cars that are blowing your doors off in a straight line, I decided to go with that, and it actually turned out pretty good.
and the group of races that they've got set up in Gran Turismo Sport this week are basically made up of 2 fictitious tracks created by Gran Turismo and one realistic track. Um, the the fictitious tracks, and we're gonna jump right into race A and take a look at what they had going on. They are racing with an N200. This is 4 laps. And what do you think about the sprint races in Gran Turismo? Does it tend to lead to one type of racer that we end up meeting? Because my thinking with the sprint race is you teach a horse to run a certain way, and that's the only way that horse is going to run.
Yeah, I mean, I've I've done a couple of these, right, and you can get into those lobbies where people are just no regard for public safety, and they're just bumping you off, and you know trying to use you as a guardrail. And then next thing you know, you hop out of that lobby and you jump into another lobby, and like everybody's practicing good racecraft. So I mean, it's really a toss up. And then with the cars that you can select on here, there's two cars. It's the 240SX. I think they're both the 240SS, but they're different years. So they're the
Yeah,
Sylvias.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
You can only
or the
select
180.
from the 180 SX Type X 96, and that's got 233 horsepower rated, and its weight was at 2660. And then you got a choice between the Sylvia, and I'm a Nissan man myself. Okay, when I saw this, I went, "What? You're playing with
Yeah.
my emotions now." I have
Yeah.
not tried this yet because I've got a special date with it. I want to make sure my car is set up because if you guys didn't notice, it was an open setup for this. You see that?
Right. Right. I did. So, but what also gave me pause is that there's only two vehicles that you can choose, which
Yeah.
evens the playing field, so to speak.
And
But I
you being
don't
a Honda
like.
man, I'm sure you were wondering where
Right.
the hell are the Hondas.
Right. Well, I mean, I just don't like entering into races where it's one type of car, right? Because we see that all too often with some of the races, and say, let's just pick a random car like the Supra. You see that Supra, everybody's running Supra somewhere, and
Yeah.
that car is fast everywhere, it seems, everywhere except like a real road. But anyway, anyway,
Well,
yeah. So
let's
I,
take a
that kind of
let's
gave
take
me
a quick
pause.
look. Let's take a quick look then at the top 10 for that track, and looks like everybody's doing it in the Sylvia. Again, that
Yep.
would have been my choice. I would have taken the Sylvia over
Yeah,
the
you got more
180.
power.
Yeah, definitely more
Yeah.
power in that. Like I said, I'm a Nissan guy. I've driven every Nissan in this game, so I knew pretty much know how to set it up the way I want to. Um, there are some. I do not notice any names on here that step out to me. Anybody you know on this list?
So I've seen Turismo Leicester in a few top 10 all-star lists. But usually when I come to these lists, I try and look for the more interesting names. And the one
Yeah.
that's sticking out to me is this ASR Super Chicken, because that, sir, is a fantastic name.
Eh, Fantastic name. I would have to agree with you. Um, and gosh, I'm just gonna have to say, because we can only assume, but we know what assumption does. That there
Right.
is one girl in this list.
Right. I knew you were going to look at number 8 there. Yeah.
I mean, it jumped right out to me. I mean, unless
You're right.
look, hey, you are what you are. You do what you do. I am not here to judge, but it just seemed like was that be a pink girl would be a pink girl.
Right. Yeah, and I think women stick out more so in the gaming community, even though we've seen it time and time again. There's like Sniper Wolf, and there's a few others that are
The
out and
boy
about.
dropping names.
Sniper
He's
Wolf is kind
following
of,
some people.
yes,
He's following
yeah. She
somebody.
she
He
just kind of
dropping
pops in
names.
my head right off the top. Right, right, but. But there's certain individuals. I mean, and like if you get into a lobby, or if it was just the audio and you hear a female on there, you're gonna be like, oh wow, So I mean, I would rather see, more females. I mean, even if you look in real life, there's more females that are racing today than there ever has been before. I was watching a drag race on Mav TV, and they had like 6 or 7 women competing in the drag race, and they were winning. So, I mean, I just think it does nothing but help the sport.
By the way, this brought to you by Sector 7, the secret sector in racing, and we are looking for female drivers. All right, so just so anybody's interested, that's where, again, we want to have a race team that has it all. Okay,
Yeah.
and it may seem like a novelty, but it's really not. I don't know if you've. And the only story I have is really from high school. Being a good football player, I challenged one of the best uh, girl basketball players and got my ass whooped.
Yeah.
And that was my first introduction to never, ever, ever, ever underestimate a female athlete. You know what I'm saying? So, giving props to my female athletes out there. Let's take, if we can, a quick look at this track because this is one of my favorite fictitious tracks in Gran Turismo. And I want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to a teammate who is on the list, S7, because tell me, what do you, again, this is all about competition. And if there is nothing like having this top 10 board on here, and we can attest to this personally, can't we, Vanessa? Uh,
Yes, indeed.
how this does not inspire you to get faster.
Right, because I tell you what, every time I see your name on my list, I'm like, oh no, here we go. Even if it's a tenth, a hundredth of a second,
Oh,
I'm trying to get on top.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know where that started, bro, but it actually, I'm going to say it's about a three-way battle now
Yeah,
because I get to look at this list and I see my fast guys, my Tismos, my Nukis, and all those guys at the
right.
top of the list. And I love my boys. But, when it comes to the closest battles in time, it happens to come when I see Finesse or when I see Titan on this list.
Right. It's like a trigger, you know what I mean? It's
It's
just
like a
like
trigger. It's like, oh, that's, the third personality comes out. Oh, they on my list. I got
right,
you.
right.
I got to take
But
them.
back, hey, so back to the Dragon Trail Garden, right? I
Yeah, yeah,
I like this track as well, right? This is
yeah,
one of my favorite tracks, so to speak, because of that compound right hand turn. I
yeah.
love that turn. That's the best turn in the entire game. Okay,
This
all
is
right, yeah,
this. If you do it right, right,
yeah,
you're really, the thing about this corner is always going to be where you think the apex should be. You
right,
agree with me? Because sometimes people go back and they want to use this apex down here. This is their starting point of the apex here, right?
yeah.
Personally, to me, that's my breaking point.
Oh wow, that's
Right?
that's where you're breaking.
That I'm trying to get like right here, and I'm trail
This is
breaking
okay.
until I
I was
get
about to
to
say because
here.
if you're starting to break at that apex. Oh wait a minute, wait in this car, or are you talking about just
Well,
overall?
just overall, how I would
Okay,
attack this
because
track.
I start breaking like way back,
Oh yeah, I mean yeah,
like
because
before I
each
even
car
get
got
there.
bigger. But we're on this track, or we were on this track, I believe, in the is it the N500 or the BMW race? We were just recently on this track,
The
and some
500
pretty
horsepower, 500
yeah,
horsepower. Yeah,
500
got
horsepower
it. Yeah,
vehicles,
yeah. Not the N5, but the
not the
500 horsepower.
N5s. But so I really took advantage of that corner and being
Yeah.
able to brake late and make my apex at the top instead
So
of
for
at the
me,
first.
in that corner, I
Yeah,
like to hit that first apex and then run and then have it go a little bit wide because I'm carrying
have
more
go wide.
speed, right?
Yep, yep.
And then I catch the other apex at a straight angle and I'm full throttle. Right? As
Full
soon as I get
throttle.
that nose turn, I'm full throttle.
By the time I come out of that corner, I am full throttle. I am probably hanging
Yes.
on the edge to the rumble strips, and
Yep.
trying to get
Hair
my
on
car
fire.
on fire, on fire. And then, of course, we got the backstretch where you're just trying to get as much speed, top speed, as you possibly
Yeah.
can. Where's your break? My breaking point is really late. I try to get right about, and I'm just talking about in general again because a different
Yeah.
car, different setup, everything is relative in general. I try to get my
Right.
breaking point right here, and I'm only
Yeah. See,
tapping
and
the brake before I start that turn in, and I'm like looking at the apex right here.
right. And for me, I break a bit further back
Yeah.
and I don't like being on the outside of that turn to start with. I
Oh
like being
no,
on
no,
the
no,
I
no.
like being on the inside of the
Try
turn
to keep it
and then
tight
bringing
in.
it out to the yeah. I like bringing it in here and then kind of fading out to the edge of the track
Yeah.
because if I do at least what I found when I was driving it because I was driving a Porsche GT2 RS I think or something GT3 one
Yeah.
of those and when you're cutting in from that far out,
Yeah.
that wear on the right side of the tires is like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So I like starting on the inside and kind of drifting out as opposed to on the outside and cutting in hard. And I'm saving tires a little bit, at least for that car.
And probably the other thing too is having some kind of visual cue on the track that lets you
Yes.
know I'm on point, I'm where I need to be, and my
Yeah.
visual cue is this little red or little orange part of the railing there. If I
Mm,
come out of that corner and I'm like right in here, I know I'm
yeah.
good.
See
I
me,
know I'm
I'm
good.
like I'm up on the inside white edge over there on this part of the track. Right? I'm
Yeah.
not even this far out yet. That's how,
Ah.
what I'm saying? That's where my line is. And I'm
Yeah.
keeping it to the inside until I get to the apex of that inside corner and then I
Yeah.
start drifting out.
Yeah, I'm usually right about in here, and I understand the line
Oh,
that you're taking because with the Nissan, and when I'm in either the GT3 or the 4 or the 2, their fifth and fourth gear are so long and tight that I
yeah.
can really, really, really carry a lot more speed out of that corner. And if I allow myself to go in at sixth, I'll
Yeah.
drop down to fifth at the apex and then
Oh,
be
wow, that's
just
crazy.
flooring it out
Because
of there. Just,
yeah, right. Because right here, I'm usually in fifth. Soon as I hit that 100 board, then I
yeah,
drop it down. I drop it down in the fourth, and then third. Right,
I'm
and that's
rev
gonna
living
set me up.
fifth. I'm rev
Yeah,
living
see, but
fifth
see,
if
I'm
I'm
on.
in the GT3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm trail breaking throughout this entire thing. So I'm down in third gear, and then I hit the apex on this inside turn right
and you want to hit
here.
this. I mean, what I'm looking at whenever I try to get this set of corners is I'm looking at wanting to be straight lined up for the next one,
Yeah, right.
right?
And it's
And
important.
I'm
It's
gonna go
important though not.
saucy. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
right.
it's important on that first turn not to put your car over the track. You know how
Too
some turns you
much.
can kind of
Dip your
yeah
wheel
because that
into
one
that hole.
yeah because it's gonna bounce you out of it
It
and then
throws you
and then
up
like you
and you
said
lose all traction and it fucks you up for the
and
second one.
then that next right hander you definitely want to put the sausage under your car which
Exactly.
which is kind of tricky because depending on your speed and how you're going like you're gonna be inside or outside right because it's not the with the tire wear, the car is changing each time you lap. So, you got to adjust. And, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't.
Exactly. And we are talking about being alone while we're going through this corner because I do not know why people find it that this is where they want to try to overtake
Oh, God. I
through
don't, I
this
mean,
set of
that's,
I don't know, bro. If you're carrying so much speed in, you're gonna get me on the out. Just wait. Just wait.
right,
But
right.
nonetheless,
I mean, like,
nonetheless, but so we get to the
I mean,
top of the hill here, and you wanna go over this sausage too. But if you don't get this right, you could pop your car up
yeah,
on two wheels so easily, which is gonna throw off the balance of the car, which is gonna throw off all that time, and you lose all that speed coming out of here because you want as much speed
yeah.
as possible. I
Now,
forgot what I
the
had.
only time I use that sausage on the way out is if I'm in desperation mode. Normally I won't go over that sausage. Normally I'll just stay on the red white coping and
Yeah,
go and negotiate it that way. Like if I'm trying to catch up to somebody or this is the last lap and I'm like trying to get a podium spot,
yeah.
then I'll put the sausage under the car and go through because like you said, if you make a mistake, you're going straight into that fence over there.
All right, so when you come up over that corner, you've done everything right. We come down this little short back. Well, I'll call it a medium backstretch, and you come to the only, I think, is the hardest braking point on this track. And I
Yes,
usually
yes,
am looking at being about middle of the track at that 50, even later if I can, depending on the car setup and braking and all that, tire conditions. And you're braking hard, trail braking hard, you should be down to either second or first coming into this corner, right? What do you usually do when you're coming in here?
So interesting fact about this corner. So, just like you said, this is probably one of the more difficult corners to negotiate on this track. And I like if I'm in a public lobby and this is when it's up, I normally pass people on the outside on this track on this corner
Yes.
in
Yeah.
particular
Yep. Yep.
because
I
people
do too.
normally get it wrong. Either they're
Yep.
braking too soon or they're braking too hard. Or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, they're braking too soon or they're braking too early. Yeah, no, soon or hard.
No, you. Yeah. Well,
I don't.
the thing is, when you're coming down this stretch, right? Everybody knows they're gonna have to brake hard.
Yeah.
Everybody knows they're gonna have to brake hard. However, again, because of some the tactics that people have, they don't realize that again, if you're faster in the corner, you're gonna come out faster than me. But the
Yeah.
angle into the corner is also going to determine how fast you can get in. Like you said, I'll let the guy have the inside. That's the tighter angle. I
Yeah.
can get around you faster if I brake in time, control the car, and stay on the
Yeah.
outside of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
So
now, right here, I'm throttling out.
right. But it's crazy because this turn in particular seems to be at least whenever I'm racing, it just seems to be the most vulnerable point on the track, which I
It
think is
is.
insane. Like there's no other track that has this turn in this manner that
You see
I've turned
everybody
like
go
I've
off.
passed people. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've passed people on the
3 or 4
outside so many
cars.
times on this turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just insane to me. Like I
Yeah.
don't get it, right? Because you're trying to keep the inside line. Okay, great, keep the inside line. And then like you said, I can negotiate that in a way that's faster than what you're doing. So I don't
And
know.
then
I think that's a really weird turn.
And then we come out of that hairpin, up a little hill a little bit here, where we go through a very, I think, I don't even call it, I try to take it more like a straight. I don't even want to turn through it because I want to be as far to the left hand side as I can here to be
Yeah.
able to get ready for the next turn. And if you
Yeah.
carry too
Usually I'm
much
carrying.
speed up here, you're going to go too wide to make the most important part of this corner, and that is one at the top of the hill, which another spot where if you don't do it right, you're going to get a lot of good passes because everybody's going off. They're carrying way too much speed up off camber angle hill and over crest, and they can't get their car stable enough, right? So they end up running wide.
Yeah.
Always
So,
out here.
but yeah, for me, right. But for me, right. So the first set before you get into there, those first couple
Yeah,
of turns, I
yeah,
always because I'm coming out of that hairpin like I'm hauling. I
yeah.
normally
Hauling in.
get into that left. I normally get into the left-hand turn so fast that I end up in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the road,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I just break it down to gear. I don't touch the brake or anything. I just
Mm-hmm.
pop it down to gear so I'm slowing down, and that way I can kind of recorrect where I'm going. And then
Yeah,
I
that's all.
normally end up out here too.
I pretty much do the
And
same thing, and it depends on how much speed I am carrying through that. But I might tap the brake while I downshift to get the car settled, right? Because,
yeah,
like I said, the worst thing that's going to happen is if you're carrying way too much speed or in the wrong gear. If you end up out here, you're screwed. I mean,
well,
you have completely messed up that entire sequence of corners. You have.
yeah,
I've clearly got visual difference between being on the track and being out here.
right.
Because the next set is the trickiest set of corners that you will ever have in any. I don't care where you're at. There are
This
5
whoever
apexes here.
No, whoever designed this track and put this turn in this track should be
Yeah,
given an award. I mean,
award.
they should have carte blanche for any track they want to design in Gran
Build
Turismo.
me a track
Here forth.
anytime, because
This
what
is
you
one of
created right here
yeah.
is what should be one single corner broken down into 4 apexes.
This is such a beautiful corner. I love this
Oh my
turn. This
god,
is
I
this is
love
the
this turn.
this is this is the best part of this entire track. So
Off
like
camber
usually,
here.
yeah.
This is the thing. Off
Oh.
camber. If you don't clip that corner, and to make yourself ready to clip this corner, because the
Yeah.
moment you drift anywhere outside there, if you touch that red at all, you're screwed. Agree?
Yeah, for sure. It's all
You're
about
done.
the setup on this turn.
It's all about the setup on this corner. If any one of them tires touches that red, forget it. You're done. Forget the fast lap. I'm coming through here and I'm throwing this tire across this. I'm hoping it skips it. I don't want it to dip in there, but I'm hoping it skips.
Maybe my suspension is set up too tight, but if I dip off the track on that turn, yeah, I get the car does not like that at all. I'm on it though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
all
yeah. Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't go on the other side of it.
I am molesting that corner. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's probably the wrong term to use, but just to emphasize what I'm doing to that corner. And then when I'm coming around and looking at this corner, I'm trying to do the same thing. Trying to do the same thing, because here is where the action starts.
Yes, indeed. By the time I come out of this turn, once I get to the outside of the track
Full
to set
throttle.
up for the next turn,
Full throttle.
full throttle.
Full
I'm
freaking
on it.
throttle.
Hey,
Boy,
if you were catching up to me, if you were catching up to me in the corners, once I make that turn right there, I'm full throttle and see you later.
I'm gone. It's see you later, alligator. I have molested this corner. I am drag racing towards the wall because I am using all of this track.
Right.
All of it to just go.
Last bit.
Last bit of that track, son. And then we're flying up the hill and we start it all over again, because here's the part that once I think you get the momentum and you've done everything right, this is the penultimate determination on whether or not you're going to complete that with a fast time.
Yeah.
Because if you screw this up, it's over.
This track, once you get the rhythm of the track, which is not, I don't think the rhythm of this track. Right. I don't think the rhythm of this track is a difficult one to have, and maybe that's why some people don't care for it too much, because it's a really fast track. But once you get the rhythm of the track down, man, I mean, you get the rhythm of the track. Once you get the rhythm of the track down, you're making music all day. I mean, the track just makes so much sense once you're going through it, and where you have to brake and turn and how you have to take the corners. I mean, it's a great track. I love it.
I love it. And that's Dragon Trail Group A, or it was not Group A, but they call it Race
500
A.
horsepower. Oh,
yeah. It's Race A,
Dragon's Tail
Daily
Gardens.
Race A.
Yep.
Let's take a look at Daily Race B. And again, I am here. I can't explain this enough that I get excited personally in Gran Turismo when they do something different.
I get excited too, but I'm not a fan of this track.
Oh, I love this track. Oh my God, this is so fast, so technical. I will say it's a lot like the one we just left. However,
not so much.
You can carry so much speed if you do this right. That's where I think a lot of people get caught up, because it is technically, if you do everything right, you probably only drop below third gear once, and that's if you get out of control. Because when we start down this backstretch, and guys, if you're not already aware, and I'm sure Finesse will tell you too, we are lovers of certain cars. All right, I'm a GTR lover. Finesse, you want to tell them what your love is?
That NSX, man, that thing is such a beautiful car. It's just,
All right,
it looks
and
amazing.
we are faithful guys to our cars. All right, we don't cheat often on jumping to the most popular for that day. We do it
No
in the
doubt.
cars that we love driving, and we try to perfect that. So when you're watching this and you go, "Oh, why aren't you driving this car? Why aren't you doing that?" It's a good question. So it takes.
Nah, I mean, so uh, maybe it's the artsy side of me, but I
Uh huh.
normally try to be a little different or try to stand out in
Yeah.
normal situations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hardly ever see anybody use the NSX, and probably for good reason, because for whatever reason that car. I mean, usually if you're in the NSX, you're in the slowest car on the track, no matter where you're at.
And I'll tell you, I was
But
shocked
I
at the popularity of the GTR on this track this
well, I
week.
mean
I've
that
seen it a
car is
lot.
fast.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. I've
car
seen
is
it a lot.
fast, and it's
But let's
quick
talk.
too. So and
Let's talk real
no, go
quick
ahead.
about this track setup, the track layout again, because it's a quickie. It's 3 laps, something different.
Right.
Have you raced on this yet, or have you tried it, or no?
I
You didn't.
I have not raced. So what I did was try to put down a time,
Yeah.
and that's how I approach the daily races. If I could put
Mm-hmm.
down a decent time, I mean, it doesn't have to be the super fast time. If I can put down a decent time and can control the car, then I'll get into a lobby. If I can't put in a decent time or control the car, then I'll just do the times, and that's all
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah.
on this one.
Yeah. And you can see my time there, and we're doing a lot of these replays from my
Uh,
machine, but it'll be a mix of everyone. So I never brag about my numbers because I'm sure there's somebody out there
and
faster. All right, but
I see your time.
uh,
I
yeah,
see
you
your
see it,
time.
you see it.
Let's not show my
Let's
time, because
dwindle that.
my time is not close to your time.
It's not on that time. Okay, so we won't talk about that then. So when I came out here, I again totally happy about this track, but the way I drive it is as if there are no turns, because these corners, although they be tight and off camber and whatever, if you do them right, they should give you maximum speed through the whole thing. So, like I said, spent a lot of time on this track, got a first place, third place, and a sixth. So, pretty happy. The the key to it is this first corner right here. If you can take this in fifth and keep your RPMs high, uh, get up on that little that green paint just a wee bit, not a lot. Don't want to get a
Mm.
penalty.
You got to go
Carry
high
that
like that, though.
speed.
Wee
Oh,
bit.
just a wee bit. All right, because when you come out of there, you want to be around somewhere here. Oh man, it works so good. Because
No.
if you can be on the left hand side here, staying on the left, as you come into this
Yeah.
corner right here, you want to
Hmm.
hit it so late that
Right.
you come out straight,
Hmm.
just like that. And I swear, if you can get down, third gear is usually what I try to take this in, but second gives me the power up the hill and the off camber. I
Right.
can throttle out so much better in second and end up right about in here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was running this race, I noticed everybody goes to the far left, and they try to stay all the way out to the far left to the last second. I carried this line all the way
Yeah.
down here. Two
So
tenths
I
of a
think what
second.
so, and that's kind of how I did it as well. I was out to the left, because like when you're coming through here, if you're out to
Yeah.
the left, just like you did on that previous turn,
Uh huh.
you can chop down and stay on the inside of the
Yeah.
next turn
Yeah.
with
Yes.
some speed. But I haven't not tried it going through the right side.
So when I did it through here, because I tried it on the outside too, believe me,
Yeah.
I could not get the time I wanted, nor could I connect the dots the way I wanted through in this corner. So
Mm.
when I then shaved it off and got close to the rail and stayed there, I could hold fifth to here.
Yeah.
And what I'll
Yeah,
do is
then
tap
you're
the
gonna end up
brake.
breaking pretty hard though, yeah.
No, no, no. I tap the
No.
brake and downshift to fourth. And I carry
Mm.
fourth at about mid throttle all the way through here.
Well, I tell
Just
you
like a
what,
straight freaking line.
that NSX is having none of that.
Oh, dude. That
That car will
Nissan, when
skate
I
right into
figured
that
that
fence.
out, I would drop down into third. Now you know there's a little hop here, so you can't avoid the
Yeah.
hop. Can't get away from it. But
Sure
that
can.
third gear hop over that gets me right out here. Ooh, and it's just like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first time I did that, and the car jumped across the road, I was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Oh,
what
shit.
happened?" You know, because
It is-
because your steering wheel gets light for that second, and then I'm
tell
like,
everybody
okay.
the rig you're running with, so we're also aware of what we're working with.
Yeah, I've got
what's your steering wheel?
the play seat challenge, right? For the seat,
Uh-huh.
and for my steering wheel, I've got the Logitech G, the G920. Yeah. So.
G920. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
I am personally working with the Fantech CSL series. Although I've
Fancy
upgraded to the
highbrow.
yeah, well,
Did you stick your pinky out when you said that?
yes, I did. High up in the air. With although I'm not using the CSL pedals, I've got the upgraded Club Sport V3 reversed on a custom rig. Ooh, did it come? Ooh, my pinky so high. One day, guys, you will see us live. That's coming soon. But nonetheless, yeah, we.
Oh
we've gotta
well,
put
while we're on rigs though, right? So
yeah,
this is one of the things that I posed to the team like a while ago, right? So in the GT Sport competitions, they don't use Fanatec. They use the TGT Thrustmaster, I think.
Thrustmaster.
Right?
Currently.
However, anytime you see streamers and everything going on, they're always on the Fanatec. So I often wondered, like why would everybody drift towards that versus going through what they actually use in the competition?
Because
I just find that to be kind of weird.
Well, and it's pretty simple on what happened, right? Because I wondered where the hell Fantech came from. But because I was always either a Logitech, my last wheel was a Thrustmaster, and then when I found the Fantech, I went asked the same question. But the reality is the partnership that Thrustmaster had with PlayStation was so long, had been in place for so long, right? That yeah, all of the testing, all of the stuff that had been done was originally done with those devices. And then here comes Fantech, right? The wheel of choice. I'm telling you right now. I'm trying to convert my boy.
And I get all that, but if
but
all the testing was done on Thrustmaster and PlayStation built the
till
game
next gen
using
comes
the
out.
Thrustmaster. Right, I got you. But what I'm saying is,
the next
if
gen
they
has all
built the
been
game
tested with
based
Fantech.
off of Thrustmaster, it would only make sense that Thrustmaster would work the best. You would think.
You would think. Not true. Yeah. yeah. I've asked. Oh, believe me, because I want the realism. I want it all. I want it all.
Yeah, I got you.
But nonetheless, we're running down the back stretch. Exactly. A little sidetrack there. I'm coming down this hill, fifth gear. I drop into fourth. My patch is my visual sight for this, and I'm going to try to carry as much speed in fourth gear around this corner as I possibly can. And then the backstretch here is just going as fast as you possibly can.
Oh, for sure.
Ignoring this kink that is in the road there, because it really is just a kink. I'm in sixth gear flat out, right about here.
Right.
Although my screen says third gear, people, I'm using a controller, trying to, everything. nice and tidy while we show you. And so up here, I am getting down to third gear, but I'm trail braking so much that I don't even use that as the apex. I use this as my apex to get straightened up for this. And then I'm trying to get into fourth gear as fast as I can, fifth gear. Usually by the time I get right here, I'm mid fifth gear. Backing off just a little bit to try to clip this corner. And then I floor it through here. Now, this is the unsettling part, because when that car drops and the weight hits the ground, you can forget trying to get, you can't hold the throttle. You gotta let the car, you gotta let the car settle. When it comes off that, bam, it hits the ground.
And when I'm in that NSX, bro, I'm telling you, I am full blast,
full throttle.
But I don't let up. I don't do none of that. It drops down. It hits and keeps on going.
But I tell you, when it hits that, when it bottoms out and it wants to carry, if you lift the throttle enough to get the nose to carry one wheel on here, I promise you, you can go flat out from here on out. And never worry about it getting caught up in the rumble strip there and stuck in the grass before it'll let you out. You know what I'm talking about. And I stay here and point my nose directly at the 50 because I'm not going to turn until I get right here. And downshift to fourth using engine brake to carry all the way through that corner. And then let it carry out. So like I said, first, third, sixth, and 13th is what I was able to get at this track. Moving along. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just about to say, with this track, we were talking about the rhythm of the track on the last one. So for this one, I love music. Music is like one of my passions. But there are some music. There's some music that I just don't get, right?
Yeah.
And this happens to be one of those tracks.
You saying this is one of those notes that does not work for you?
Man, like I'm at two left feet. Why you keeping my time on the screen? I just want we can go to the next track. There's no need to.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. My leaderboard. You mean? I see.
Yeah,
I see.
I ain't gonna tell you how many laps it took to get to 13. Holy cow!
And I'm actually kind of pissed right now because the guy I was chasing on this list looks to have moved to number one. Dirty Hair has moved to number one on my leaderboard. He was second because Rex in Effect had the first spot. So you can see I got a little ways to go.
A little bit. Yeah, got some climbing
ways to go. Nonetheless, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the last race.
Hurry up and move on.
And this is Group 4 Suzuka. And wow, Suzuka is just another one of my favorite tracks. Japan, anything in Japan is up, my top of the list for me. What did you think about Suzuka this week in the Group 4 car?
Suzuka is not necessarily one of my favorite tracks.
Oh man, this just did not work out for you this week.
No. Actually, I did pretty good in here. Like I said, I got a podium. So like you're looking at, like if you look at my time right there, I got a 2:11, which is like right behind you, right? Yeah. But that doesn't. I mean, like that time on a track with obstacles and people and people going off, like all I have to do is keep my car on the track, and that's it. That time right there, it got me a podium spot. So.
And I was shocked too. I was very shocked that the 209, low 209s, high, mid, I would say mid to 211s would get you a pole. I was shocked. Yeah, but
in all the races that I competed in, some of the fastest laps for the race were 211s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking at the top 10 all-stars, again, we see a pattern here. Which car is the most popular to try to get a time in? I do not know how they did that with the Atenza. I do like the Atenza. I have one in my garage. I cannot get it to do that time. I
Yeah. So,
can't get it to
but
do
these
a 208.
yeah, but these are times that you're on your track by yourself, and 9 times out of 10
Yeah,
you're racing your ghost, so you can
yeah.
adjust your braking until like you can fine tune to get a time. So while these times are fast, I don't typically put too much stock in those,
Mm-hmm,
just because
mm-hmm.
that's not a real race
It's not
situation.
what you're going
And
to
then nine
race
times out of
at.
right, and then 9 times out of 10 they're not even using those cars in the race.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing that gets me about this list, and that's the reason why I like to focus on it, because I think it's bogus.
I
But
mean, I wouldn't say
well, here's the thing.
bogus.
Here's the thing. Are we doing time trials or are we racing this track? Because if you're doing time trials, I see these guys setting the times. Are they racing with these cars?
Right. And so I mean that's kind of double-edged sword, right? Because there's
Yeah.
really nothing from a programmer's point of view, at least nothing that I could see right
That's
now,
what I know.
that they could
So that's
do
why.
to say like, okay, well if you don't use this car, then you can't use that time,
Well,
but
and I understand. I understand what people are doing here, and that's why I look at this as all right. What is the fastest time that someone has done on that particular track? And then I say, what is the time I can do in my car?
right,
Right? Because again, I can't compare the GTR to the Atenza. I can't compare it to
right,
the Megane or the
right.
Scorpio. Right?
And these have no tire wear either.
None. So
Yeah.
just wanted to point that out and I'm glad I was able to get that. And you agree, and so just so everybody knows.
Well, I
Oops.
mean, I think we mostly agree, but oh, you
Mm-hmm.
exit. But yeah, I think we
Oops.
mostly
Oops.
agree. I wouldn't say that the times are bogus. I just think that it's just taken in a different context, and it's not necessarily a race situation context.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like it highlights the skill of those drivers more than anything
Uh,
to me.
all right. And I won't take away skill. I never take away from skill. I just question, why is this part in here? And are we doing
Yeah.
time trials on the same track while we're racing? And why
Yeah.
don't we have racing fast lap numbers up there? So
Right.
just
And
some
that's what I was
things
gonna
that, yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that the only other way to do it is just to take the fast laps from the actual races and not from the
yes,
practice. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. So Suzuka, famous track. We are all aware of
Yep.
Suzuka.
Mm.
And yeah, I had to slow myself down there. I forgot what the hell was the brake button. Um, Suzuka, if we talk about just, obviously we're going to talk about the straight, but this is where you start in the chicane, right?
Yeah. And
And
if you're
yeah,
unfortunate enough to be in 12th place, when it says go, you're gonna be like right in the middle of the chicane,
exactly, exactly. I
which is
wanted to
horrible.
say that. Thank you. You see, you were going where I was going. If you
Yeah.
have to start the race from the chicane, look, people, understand you are not going to go any faster than what this chicane will allow. You're
Yeah.
not. So
And
why
you got
not?
cold.
Yeah, people on the side of you, in front to the back and whatever. Why not have some patience through this chicane, right?
Just a smidge.
And set yourself up to get down the backstretch as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah. Or at least in a position to draft the person in front of you.
I don't know how many times I don't want to lag on it, but here we go. Down the back, right, coming out of the chicane, start of the race, the backstretch, not the longest backstretch,
Mm-mm.
but nonetheless, you can get some speed up, right?
Yes, indeed. And the most important part of this right here is your first set of turns coming up, because you're going to want to
Yeah.
be smoking coming through here. And for
Smoking.
me, For me, I normally start trail braking through the turn all the way
Yeah,
up until the last apex, and then I'm
yeah,
off the brakes and I'm on the throttle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you're trail braking all
you're
through there.
trying to make this a 3-point connection starting back there
Yeah.
at the first of that corner. This is the second point of that 3-point connection, and then the third point right here.
Yep.
Right?
I'm on
And you're
throttle right
coming
here.
out
Let's go.
throttling, boy, just throttling, trying to
Yeah.
carry as much
This is getting
speed
me
as you
excited
possibly
just looking
can.
at it. We
Yeah,
already
just
going
right?
fast.
Because I love this track. I love this track. And I'm trying to, in the Nissan, I'm like fourth gear GTR, the GT4, the Group 4 or the
Yeah.
Group 3 or the Group 2. I'm coming through here in fourth, and I'm not downshifting, and I'm using the engine braking uh, as late as I can, like right here. Third
Yeah.
gear
So my
engine
gears,
braking.
my gears aren't wound so tightly. So
Yeah,
like if
yeah,
I'm in fourth, when I start, I drop down into third, then I get through all of these turns in third gear.
yeah. And by the time I get up here, I got, drop down again, engine brake third gear, carrying as much speed as I possibly can. And then I'm going to wait to the last second and pop fourth. You're probably already in fourth by this time.
No, no. Actually, right
No?
here, I'm still in third gear. Yeah.
Still in
So
third. All right,
because
I'm
this
popping fourth. Okay.
because this turn is a little weird, right? So like
Yes,
if
off
you
camber, uphill,
throttle
blind crest. Yes, sir.
right, if you throttle out too quickly, you're gonna end
Yep.
up in the dirt, right?
Kitty
So
litter.
you got to kind of yeah. So I keep it in third so that I'm not over revving the car, and then
Yeah,
once
yeah.
I get up or at least halfway to the point where I can point the car left, then I put it in fourth.
And then we're coming around here. Now, I've already popped into fifth gear myself. And I am just boogie, 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 boogie.
Yep.
Sometimes, if I'm chasing a car, I'll stay in fifth, won't downshift, but I'll downshift to
Oof.
fourth if I have to,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm
Yeah.
downshifting to third and trail braking it all the way through the corner. And I
Yep.
love
For
to
me, I'm
carry it
in
on out here. Ooh, I like
Yeah,
this
for
part
me,
out
I'm in
here.
fourth and then third. Usually, like if I'm chasing a car coming through these turns,
Yeah.
I'll change my initial brake point, but it's not even really a brake. More than likely, it's just a tap. It's a tap and a downshift. So depending on like if I'm chasing somebody, I'll adjust that to catch up to them real quick. But other than that, I always drop down 2 gears going to there.
And we're coming up this little crest here. Fourth gear, I'm usually in, and looking to be able to brake late, get the
Uh huh.
nose turned in late. I'm usually in second or first. I want to try
Yep.
to throttle that corner, but if not, I still am getting good speed out of here. Same thing for you,
Same thing. Yep. Second gear.
right? And then we're coming around the corner here. A lot of guys want to try to get up there on the top. The marbles are up there, guys. Just to let you know,
Yeah.
that's where the marbles are on the far left. You don't want to be on the marbles.
AKA not where you want to be.
Not where you want to be. Stay on the inside as much as you can. And I know there's a lot of passing that goes on through there, but get out of the marbles as soon as you can because you need all the grip you can to try to carry as much speed. And I'm in fourth when I hit here.
Yep.
Oh, fifth, broke down the fourth. And then when I get about to the top here and I see the opening of the apex, I'll drop into third.
Yep.
And I want to
Same,
carry as
same.
much speed as I can around here. And I'm throttling now, trying to carry as
Yep.
much speed as I can. And I'll usually shift up to fourth. Don't want to be that wide out. I don't want to get that far out on there. Because the more you can keep the four tires means all grip, all traction is being pushed to this apex right here.
Yep, hair on fire throughout this entire section.
Right? Now, if you're good, your car is set up properly, you can peak out fifth gear, might get into sixth gear. I don't like to touch the brake as much. Little much, because I want as much speed through there as I can. What do you see people happen,
Yeah.
right? They all go way out there. And the moment they
Yes.
touch that rumble strip or get into the grass, they're in that strip.
Uh huh.
Not where you want to be,
So
right?
for me, So for me in the NSX, I'm in sixth gear. I'm coming through there,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then
Six.
once I hit that apex, once I get to the turn where I'm taking my left, I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
tap
Yeah.
downshift into the fifth, and
Yeah.
then and at that point though, I can get back on the throttle immediately, and I can still hold my line and stay on the track.
And
So,
by the time I
but that's
come out
why
of that sequence of corners, I've pointed my nose at the 100 mark. I'm not moving over early. I'm just cutting the track
right,
right at that
exactly.
diagonal angle to go right for the 100 mark. And when I get to the 100 mark is when I downshift, and I'll usually try to flip two gears at once so that I can end up being in fourth here and then get down to third about here and then second right here,
Yep.
flipping that corner.
And then
Uh,
you don't want to throttle too early on this out either. You
don't
want
do
to,
it.
get
Don't do
yourself
it. Be
pointed in the
patient.
right direction.
Let the
Yep.
car
And make sure
settle
that you don't, yep. Make sure you don't
because here's
overshoot
the
it and end up
problem.
in the
If you carry enough speed coming out of that, you'll then come over that crest off camber with your wheels sticking and you can stay right here.
Yeah.
You can stay right here through the whole thing. Or imagine the
Yep.
engines revving,
And then
right?
yeah, so and right, and then so just as another tidbit of information, right?
Yeah,
Things
yeah,
that I've experienced in the lobbies with this race. Um, I find that you see like we were looking at the leaderboards with those cars. So a lot of people are going to be following the herd, so to speak,
yeah,
and picking those cars, right? But what
yeah.
they don't realize is those front wheel drive cars and the six times
Exactly,
tire wear on here is a
exactly.
horrible combination. So there were many races that I was in where people had to pit. So why are
I
you
saw
pitting on
that.
a sprint?
I
Yeah,
saw
why I
that.
put it on the spread? Like that was mind boggling to me, right? So I was like, ah. So I went from 12th place to like fourth place in the manner of a lap.
They gonna
And
use up
because
all
all
their
of those
tires.
cars had to pit. Right, right. So I'm just like, man, I don't understand it. Why would you willingly pick a car that you'd have to pit with, as opposed to, especially if you're fast? Because if you're fast, you're gonna be fast in anything.
You
Doesn't
don't
matter
need it.
what
You
car
don't
you're
need
in,
it. You don't need it.
and it just, yeah, and you just pick a car that you can drive, man. I don't get it. Anyway, that was my little rant.
Well, no, I'm gonna have to agree with it 100%. Also, we've got going on this week are the Nations Cup, and in the Nations Cup, which I think I'm going to participate in this one. It is wow. I was excited when I saw this. I went, "What? You got?" Oh, sorry. Ooh, because we've got the Red Bull Junior Series going on right now, and this car on soft tires, bro, bro. It's fun.
I can't
It's
do it.
just freaking
I can't
fun.
do it.
Oh, I
I
love it.
can't do it. Oh, I
I will
can't
have a
do it.
time posted here pretty soon because when I saw it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna practice for that one because that's gonna be fun. And
So
then yeah, but
I was just saying because for me, like whenever you're driving those cars,
yeah,
like it resets all your experience from all other cars,
totally,
right? Because
totally.
they're in the whole range with the like the F1
Uh
and
huh.
those experimental the concept
Uh huh.
cars or whatever. So like that's why, I mean, that's most of the reason why I don't do it, because now I have to readjust how I race everything else. But
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
that just doesn't
It's
that
a
doesn't interest
it's a
me.
flipping of the switch, a mind flipping of the switch. That
Yeah.
because I do it when I go from F1 into Gran Turismo. That you
Oh man.
can't do the same thing. It takes me a minute or two, but I usually do
Yeah.
the same thing. And by the
Yeah. And
way,
it's
fun fact about this race: it's a grid start.
interesting. That is interesting. But what I was gonna
Yeah,
say, right? So like playing like this is for the same reason that you don't go driving after you're playing a game. Like so if I
yeah,
do a FIA race, I have to sit for like 30, 45 minutes before I go get in my car.
right, 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 right.
Because otherwise, I'm gonna be rolling down the street getting busy. You know what I'm talking about?
uh,
So yeah, for that
yeah.
same reason, that's why I don't mess with them.
And we've also got the manufacturer series still going on.
What? Who's
I
the number one driver in Georgia? Huh? For Honda.
I am well.
I give
Say it
you a hint.
again. Uh uh uh
Number one
uh.
driver in Georgia for Honda.
You know, I was a little disappointed. I have 3 accounts. This account is normally my GTR account, but
Mm-hmm.
I was talked into driving for uh, Mercedes, and
Ah.
again, I am a loyalist to the fact that I will drive my GTR no matter what. So when I did this, I knew I was making a mistake because you have to practice. 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 Yeah,
We talking
practice.
about practice?
Practice. Yeah, I did not practice with the Mercedes, and it reflected in my driving. Thus, I have pretty much dropped out of
Right, you driving it like
the
it's a Nissan.
FIA. Yeah, this is wrong. And don't get me wrong, I had a beautiful livery, but just could not drive that car. At least not without practice. So I did not want to jump in there because we are going to talk about um, the, and I know everybody, we jumped over the Toyota race. I do know of one of our team members who is driving, has tested it or played with it. I don't know. Um, I'm not saying I hate on the Toyota. I want your feedback on this too, Finesse. Um, but you really, when you did that, it was like, well, where's the other one make series one off stuff? You know, I mean, we got
Yeah.
all the car makers in here. Again, I'm not hating on Toyota, but I'm a Nissan guy, and thus I would love to have a one make Nissan series that I can go to every day. But again, I'm not going to harp on it. We've got better
Yeah.
things to talk about. What's your feeling on the Toyota series?
So my personal opinion, right? I don't find any of the Toyotas that exciting to me, really. Like I don't.
I'm not,
I
and we're
get
not
maybe because I
hating.
look at
I'm not hating.
right. Not hating. I mean, Toyotas are they are what they are. I mean, it's a cool car. I mean, I wasn't excited on how they brought the Supra back. So like that's not like a exciting car for me. And maybe it's like the artistic side in me, right? I don't like the way it looks. And that's completely subjective, right? So I don't like that car. Just doesn't interest me.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it's got a larger calling. Maybe I'm too old to be in that crowd that actually likes the car. But that car doesn't interest me at all. So
I
I
would
don't really
have to
mess with
agree
it.
with you
I
on
mean,
that one, my friend.
yeah, and Toyota is a great company. I mean, look at their numbers. You can't say they're not great. But as far as this game goes, I'm just not interested in the Toyotas in that manner.
You got me there. Okay. I back in the I'm gonna go to the 80s Toyota Supra. That was my favorite at the time. Um since then, I I'm sorry. It's just a Toyota with a Mercedes chassis.
Mm. All right, I'm gonna
I'm
have.
sorry.
I've got some. I got to check in
uh,
with some guys
Powertrain and
down
all
at the.
that,
Yeah, I got to
go
check
look
in with some
under the
guys down
hood.
at the. Yeah, I
Yeah.
check in with some guys down in one of the other lobbies here. Just give me a quick second.
But while he's checking into that, let me remind you this is Race Week in Review. First ever, first time you are being a part of this. You are in the premier group of people who are learning about this series, which will come to you every week, where we will break down the races before and after for our Sector 7 drivers, as well as send us in some videos. Let us talk about your video. We're going to talk about some techniques and all of that good stuff. So uh, join us again when we will talk to some drivers as well. So you never know what we're going to do on this show. Race Weekend
Yes.
Review brought to you by Sector 7, the secret sector in racing. And we're going to talk about a little thing that we got coming up here. I'm excited
Hit
about it. I know
list.
you're excited about it. It's going to be good to be on
Yeah.
somebody's hit list, right? Because this is what
Woo.
we got planned. Sector
Yeah.
7, top secret. This is top secret, by the way, people. Top
If you
secret.
can't tell by the
Uh,
if you're listening and not watching,
well, not
just
watching.
here's
You
top
know, we're
secret.
just trying to, give you a little visual to you know, your audio there, right there. This is top secret. We want you to know that. All right. And because it's top secret, I'm going to go to my man Finesse, who is going to take you into the bowels of Sector 7 and tell you about this program.
Right. So each month we're gonna do a hit list, right? So and actually this hit list is an okay hit list to be on because you're not gonna get you're not in
Get
moral
knocked off the
danger. So
track. Yeah.
right,
Somebody's not
you
going
can
to try to
still
knock you out of first place. Yeah.
you can still tell somebody about it. But each month we're gonna do a 5 series race. Um, and the first 4 races. So the goal is to get them once per week, right? So there's typically 4 weeks in a month. Um, so we're gonna do each week have a race with the certain setting. So for this race in particular, it's going to be the Honda Integra, and you can tune the suspension, and you have the array of tires, racing tires
Racing
to
tires.
go
Yeah.
through. Um, and then it's going to be on Tsukuba with 10 laps, no fuel, no tire wear, right? For those 4 laps. And then
How
we're
do
going
they
to
get
take,
into these races? I'm
oh,
sorry. Go ahead. I mean,
let me
interrupt.
wheel
Yeah, I'm
you in, let me
sorry.
wheel you in,
Let me
right?
shut up. Let me shut up.
So,
I'm so
you
excited about
good.
it. It's top secret. I'm trying to give away secrets.
Right. So we're okay. Yeah. So these 4 races are going to be in that format. It's going to be in a sprint format. However, for the championship race, we're going to do a little change up just to add some difficulty there. But for those 4 races throughout the month, they're going to have no fuel, no tire wear. So it's going to be basically purely skill based. We're not looking for any particular level of driver other than being clean.
Yeah. We
So
want you to
we
be
want to make
clean,
it
please.
as
Wipe you
yeah,
up. I'm
make
sorry.
the races as clean and professional as possible. So everybody has a good time, and not only that, everybody has a chance to win without being taken out for external factors.
What happens
um,
when they get to the championship?
yeah, which is what I was about to go in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have those 4 lobbies, and the winners of those 4 lobbies will get an invite to the championship, right?
Got to
So
win all 4 lobbies.
correct. It's going to be a different person, so it's not obviously you can't have
Yeah.
same people. So whoever the first place winner is in those lobbies will get the invite to the championship at the end of the month. So there could be the possibility where our fourth race is a back-to-back race with the championship.
Yeah.
So the earlier you get in and the earlier you win, the more of a break you have.
And that's what you want to do.
That's
You
what
want to
you want.
make sure that you get in early and you're a part of this because, again, what we're looking at is how do you race in these races because that's what will trigger the invites to other secret hit lists, right?
Right, right. So with that, with the whole qualifications to get into the hit list. So basically, if you're in a lobby with a S7 member, it doesn't matter who, right? Any S7 tagged member in the lobby sees you race and you have good racecraft. You're doing the things you need to do and you're competitive, right? They're gonna give we're gonna have our names of those individuals and we'll send you an invite via the PSN, right? So you'll get an invite from one of or from either myself or Stig here, as far as wanting to see if you want to participate, and that will get you entry. So once we get that list of names, we'll have the lobby open, and then you'll come in, you'll do your thing, and you win and you keep it going. So if you see a S7 member, you can introduce yourself or whatever. I mean, we're not requiring you to do any of that kind of stuff. But if you see an S7 member, there is a chance that you may get an invite to one of these secret races.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I was out racing the other day and came across 4 guys that I will need to send an invite to. So I look forward. Definitely, this is going to bring in some serious competition, which we can maybe see some really, 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 really close and tight racing. Again,
Yeah.
this is brought to you by Sector 7. And I want to take the final minutes of today's show. And, when we were talking about doing this premiere, Finesse, we said, can we shove, race week into 30 minutes? We have gone
Right.
over that just a little bit. I hope we've still got some listeners out there, but so I think we're not going to worry about time. We're going to worry about getting our information out there. And again, this is brought to you by Sector 7, the only sector in racing that is completely secret. You have to join or stop by our Discord to find out much more about what goes on in Sector 7. Also brought to you by Fan for Life. What is your passion? We got a lot of fanatics out there, and if you look up the word fanatic, it does have kind of a negative meaning, but we're using it in a positive way. And then also brought to you by the Sector 7 race series. This is simulation in your simulator. Okay, we got some real stuff happening in the Sector 7 series brought to you by S7 RIP. This has been an outstanding first show, sir. What did you think?
Oh, it's great, man. I like our format. We've touched on some interesting topics, as well as more information about us and what we do as far as Sector 7. And yeah, man, it's always good to talk about racing and cars.
And we are, like I said, we were looking at how long this show is going to be, but we are going to put out more. So this will be the very first one. We hope that you tune in for the next one, where we will dive into some highlights from drivers in Sector 7, talk a little bit about the team and introducing them individually. Where can they find you, Finesse, in
As
the race
always,
world?
yeah, as always, you can find me on Gran Turismo or the PSN network under S7 underscore finesse underscore. I'm normally in a lobby, public lobby, dailies, or doing some practice somewhere. So you can definitely find me over PSN.
You want to be on your best P's and Q's if you happen to be in the lobby with this man, because again, you might end up on his hit list. I like that. I like the way that sounds right there. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this, as you know, has been another production brought to you again by Sector 7. I am CowboysStig, and you can find me out on the web, YouTube, Discord, and all of your favorite places. I hope to meet you on the track. Look, again, check us again. Race Week in Review, brought to you by Sector 7. We will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.